to be on their side. I think another challenge is that we don't have interaction with them that much. We have limited interactions with our athletes. I only have the privilege to meet athletes because of settings like this, like these, when they come to speak. But outside of that, I don't necessarily see them. I see them in the classroom, and then after that, they're off to the field, or they're off to a viewing session. We don't have that much interaction. And I think if we had more one-on-one connection and saw them as people and not necessarily emblems or symbols of the university, we could bridge that gap and have better relationships between the academic world and athletics.
Many people see them as entertainers.
I can really appreciate what's been said, because the question of whether or not the university can have big-time athletics doesn't really pertain to those students who are athletes who are also excelling in the classroom. It really pertains to those students that the university chooses to admit who are not quite ready to matriculate with the rigors of this school, or who, because as Michael was saying, the demands on their time are so excessive that even though they possess the skills to matriculate here, it is difficult. And so the question for the university becomes, if you admit them, what is your obligation to make sure they are educated? And if that is your obligation, then that should come first.
Well, I'm not sure what to add to that. I think that's an excellent point. I have a 9-year-old son who says he wants to play in the NBA, and I'm going, you go to private school, I'm paying tuition. You're not going to be drafted like Kobe Bryant, you know? But this is his dream right now. And, you know, yeah, he may be. He says it's possible, and I say it's possible. But I think that, you know, it is a question of opportunity, too, right? What other opportunities, particularly, are young, Black, African-American men given? Now we do have a president, right? But if the schools in your neighborhood are falling apart, is it really, you know, possible to achieve what Barack Obama has achieved? So I think that there are so many issues. I think we need more times like this where I can actually come to SASB, because I've been to SASB once, I think. And you know, our campus is huge. It has grown tremendously. My office is on Franklin Street in a 100-year-old building, right? So I think that we need to come together more to try to hash out some of these things, to get to know each other better, so that we can try to come to some workable solutions for students, for athletes. And we also have to think about the money. I mean, that's something that people are increasingly talking about, is the money behind college athletics and who's making the money and who's potentially being exploited by the situation.
Okay, wait for it.
And I was just kind of thinking about it, and I think another way we can kind of attack, I guess more so the academic issue. Well, there was a question on here just about, it says, where is it? Sorry. Okay. It talks about how many, like, Black professionals, deans, faculty, like athletic administrators, head coaches are on campus. And I think one thing that's important is to show young people, people like us in those positions. And I know sometimes just because of how different systems are set up, it's hard for minorities to get into those positions. But I think the more we see people like us there, the more we kind of have like a wider view of what we can do. And I know, Coach, not to point me out, but Coach Metters is here. He was recently hired as our new head coach. And, you know, for me, I kind of feel like there's just more, like a little more of a connection there. And I like that. And I think we need to see more of that. So that's all I had to say. Just pointing out more minorities, more of us in those positions, and I think that widens the view of what we can
definitely big on campus and on everyone's mind. Has the African and Afro-American Studies Department been unfairly targeted? Why do you think so? And how can the Black community support the faculty, staff, and students? And I guess more importantly, how can Black students on campus support the department? How can Black students, how can Black student movement support the department?
I thought about that question because we were given the questions prior to tonight's event. And I think the main concern of a lot of faculty in our department, just from my perception, and if there are other people here, they can definitely chime in, but I think that the media has become our biggest enemy lately. And so that's why I was trying to get us to think about the larger context in terms of who controls the story out there, who controls public perception for people who are not on this campus, even for people who are on this campus. Because if all you do is read the NNO and the Daily Tar Heel, you have a very different idea of what has happened, who was involved in what happened. And I just want to reiterate that there were 2 people involved in the wrongdoing, and they have both left the university. But somehow our whole department has been painted as corrupt and unethical and so forth. And so it's definitely been a concern. And I actually have an open letter here that Professor Perry Hall wrote to the editors of the Daily Tar Heel. He wrote it and sent it in on September 12th. I have copies which we can pass around. The Daily Tar Heel did not print it. They have repeatedly not printed letters from majors. That began last school year. Majors supporting the department, from faculty, from people who supported the department. So there's been this whiteout in terms of media coverage. And then the NNO has been beating the drum. They beat the drum all summer, trying to find new things and rehashing the old news. So in terms of fairness, I would say the media right now is one of our biggest concerns. And then also what's happening at higher levels within the UNC administration, not only to potentially target us, but to target anything progressive, throughout the UNC system. And so I think those are the issues. We have received good support from the administration, so I don't think that's so much of a concern for us right now. But, with our chancellor talking about stepping down, that's another issue as well, right? So what will the leadership be in the future for this university? What kind of values will a future chancellor or future provost uphold at this university?
Other comments on the Afro-American Studies Department?
I'm a major in the department, and I'm one to say that my department is not as easy as people make this department seem to be. I have several outstanding and highly qualified professors who have invested their time and their value and their interest in learning and engaging the topics, who have made an impact on my life. And so to see my department that I love and cherish vilified in the media is somewhat heartbreaking. And I think as students, we have a lot of power as students. And you have a lot of activism that you can demonstrate. And I think it is best that students begin engaging in dialogues with these entities that are saying these things about our department, and respectable dialogue, engaging in respectable conversations with these entities, and figure out why are they whitewashing the media? Why are they not covering the other aspect of the story? And really understand where they're coming from, and then challenge that. But do it in a respectable way, that you don't have to stoop down to lower levels, or you don't have to go down to their levels in this issue. I think we should always practice a high standard when engaging in dialogues about this topic, and be strong in what we believe in and be vocal about it. But like I said, do it in a respectable manner.
I appreciate that. Let me just add, for folks who would like to learn more about sort of the comprehensiveness of the issues that the 2 panelists raised with regard to how pernicious and persistent and distorted the media images are about us, I would refer you to the Opportunity Agenda, which is a really interesting website. Topo's partnership and the Opportunity Agenda have done some very comprehensive reviews about media and the distortions and the impact of those even on how we see ourselves. So that's a place to go, just sort of when you have a free minute and you can't fall asleep.
Okay, in the spirit of the town hall, let's open it up for questions for our panelists, or any particular comments or questions for our panelists at this time. Coach?
Can I take place, please?
Yes, you may.